The galaxy was vast, filled with countless civilizations that rose and fell like waves in an endless ocean. Among the powerful empires there were names spoken with respect, names that carried fear, and names that demanded silence. But then, there was one name that made the council halls echo with laughter: Earth. To the galaxy's rulers, Earth was not a power, not even a problem. It was a joke, a small blue planet sitting at the edge of a forgotten arm of the Milky Way. Its people were late to the stars, their fleets small, their colonies fragile, and their weapons nothing compared to the mighty arsenals of the great empires. Whenever diplomats gathered, when wars were discussed, and when maps of power were drawn, Earth's name was only a punchline. Humans? They mocked. What can they do? They barely understand the stars. But behind the laughter, something strange was happening. Whispers spread in the darker corners of the galaxy. Smugglers spoke of ships that vanished without warning near unexplored regions. Merchant convoys told stories of being shadowed by unknown craft, machines that appeared and disappeared as if made of smoke. Pirates attacked these ships once, only once, and none of them lived to tell the tale. But those few rumors that survived painted a chilling picture. Small vessels with no drive signature moving like shadows, tearing pirate fleets apart before fading back into nothing. At first, the empires ignored the rumors. After all, stories from smugglers and pirates were worth less than dust. But then military scouts began reporting the same. Fleets sent to patrol certain routes failed to return, and on the recordings that did survive, there was one strange detail: signals that came from nowhere. In the Grand Council of the Dominion of Vayar, the most powerful empire in the Eastern Galaxy, a debate grew heated. Their admirals presented fragments of intercepted transmissions, strange bursts of energy that made no sense. The science ministers dismissed it as noise. Space is full of strange signals, they said. It is nothing. Yet the admirals pressed harder. No, they argued. It is something. Something that watches us. Something that moves unseen. The council laughed at them. Perhaps it is the ghosts of your enemies, one minister mocked. Or perhaps, another smirked. The humans finally learned to build toys. The chamber erupted in laughter. The word Earth was like fuel for their mockery. The humans, one senator sneered. They still fight with rockets and bullets. They are nothing. But as the laughter filled the chamber, a messenger entered with urgent news. Another fleet was missing. 50 ships gone without a trace. The room fell silent. Yet the silence lasted only moments before breaking again into derision. Perhaps, said one minister with a cruel smile, the humans have eaten them. The words drew laughter once more, but beneath that laughter was something else, a small growing unease. Across the galaxy, similar stories emerged. The Kareth Confederacy lost an entire exploration squad. The Ilari Dominion reported strange energy spikes near their border worlds. The proud fleets of the Zorath Collective encountered what they called phantoms, ships that appeared from empty space and then were gone before a single shot could land. Still the galaxy mocked. Still they laughed. They refused to believe the impossible. For what threat could come from Earth? The humans themselves remained silent. They sent no warnings, no claims, no threats. No human leader stood before the galaxy to boast. No fleet flew parades in alien skies. Earth stayed quiet, and that silence was worse than noise, worse than shouting, worse than war drums. Because silence meant mystery. Silence meant planning. Silence meant power. In the high markets of the galactic core, traders began whispering about human technology. Weapons that fired with no heat, ships that left no trails, engines that bent light itself. No one knew if it was true, but fear spread faster than truth. Soon, even the empires who mocked Earth the loudest were secretly ordering reports, demanding investigations, searching for scraps of data that could prove the humans were still what they thought: weak, late, foolish. But every report only deepened the shadow. It was at the Council of Nine Suns where the final insult was spoken. A Zorath ambassador raised a glass of wine and declared, Earth is the galaxy's joke, and jokes end with laughter. His words filled the hall with noise and scorn. Yet on that very same night, the galaxy received a signal so sharp, so clear that it cut through every communication network at once. It came without warning, without location, without signature, and it carried only 3 words, spoken in a voice none could trace. "We are here." The galaxy froze. Armies stopped their drills. Politicians choked on their laughter. Merchants dropped their trade. And suddenly, Earth was no longer a joke. Suddenly, Earth was a question. Who were these humans, and how had they appeared from nowhere? And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt something it had long forgotten: fear. When the signal, those 3 simple words, echoed across the stars, every empire scrambled to trace it. Fleets moved, scientists worked without sleep, and spies risked everything to find its source. But the message left no trail, no origin, no weakness to follow. We are here. That was all. And yet, that was enough. Because after the signal, things began to happen. It started at the border of the Dominion of Var. Patrol ships scanned empty space, their instruments clear, their readings calm. Then, without warning, something appeared. A shape where there was nothing a second before. A vessel, smooth and dark, hovering in silence. No energy signature, no drive wake, no trace of entry. It was simply there, as though space itself had decided to create it. The Vari commander panicked, ordering weapons charged. But before the first shot could fire, the human ship moved. It didn't accelerate like normal vessels. It didn't push forward with engines. It just vanished and reappeared behind the patrol as if it had stepped through a doorway only it could see. One of the Vari officers screamed. "It's impossible," he shouted, eyes wide, sweat running down his scaled face. But impossible, or not, the human ship hovered calmly behind them, silent, waiting. The patrol didn't last long. Moments later, all the Vari ships were disabled. Their systems shut down with no explosions, no visible weapons. They floated powerless, and when rescue fleets arrived hours later, they found their soldiers alive, but shaken, trembling, whispering, of shadows that appeared from nothing. Word spread fast. The galaxy tried to deny it, but the stories were too many. On the far side of the core, the Kareth Confederacy reported seeing ships blink into existence above their colony worlds, only to vanish seconds later, leaving only confusion. The Zorath Collective, proud of their sensor technology, swore it was impossible. But even their advanced machines recorded gaps, blind spots, moments where entire regions of space simply disappeared, then returned, with human vessels inside them. Still, the galaxy clung to pride. Tricks, the leaders said. Illusions. But deep inside, their fear grew. Because there were witnesses, alien captains who looked into the cold steel hulls of human ships and felt something strange. The vessels did not shine with gold, like the fleets of the rich empires. They carried no banners, no bright colors. They were simple, dark, and efficient, built not for show, but for survival. Built by a species that had clawed its way up from a death world, where everything fought to kill them, and where they learned to fight back harder. On the mining moon of Oriole 7, the truth became undeniable. A raiding fleet from the Alari Dominion struck, expecting to capture human workers rumored to be there. But instead, when the battle began, the humans revealed themselves. From empty black sky, 10 ships appeared. Just appeared, without warning. Alien raiders fired instantly, their weapons blazing. But the human ships moved like predators, blinking across the field, vanishing from one spot to reappear in another, their weapons cutting through shields as if they were paper. In less than 5 minutes, the Ilari fleet was in ruins. And still, not a single human pilot spoke. Silence followed every battle. Not boasting, not taunting, not even a warning. The humans only appeared, acted, and disappeared again. It was the silence that unsettled the galaxy more than the power itself. Because silence meant purpose, silence meant control, and silence meant the humans were not desperate. No, they were confident. In the great halls of the Council of Nine Suns, panic replaced laughter. Ministers demanded answers, but no scientist could explain the technology. "It cannot exist," they said. "Nothing moves without drive signatures, nothing bends space like this." Yet the recordings showed it clearly. The humans did not travel faster than light. They did not warp space in known ways. They simply stepped through it like walking across a room. Speculations filled the council halls. Some said humans had made contact with ancient machines, relics of vanished races. Others believed they had discovered a hidden layer of space itself. A few whispered something darker, that humans had not invented this but evolved it, born from their cursed death world, finding ways to do what no other species dared. And then came the first message. Not broadcast across the galaxy like before, but delivered directly. A single human ship appeared above the council station of the Vayar Dominion. No alarms detected it until it was there, floating silently outside the great glass windows, where hundreds of leaders stood frozen. And then, through every channel, one human voice spoke, calm and clear. "We are here, watching. Nothing more. No demands. No explanation. Just those words." And before the leaders could respond, the ship vanished into the void once again. Fear spread like fire. Some empires ordered fleets to prepare for war. Others urged surrender. But one, truth could no longer be hidden. Humanity, once the galaxy's joke, had stepped out of nowhere. And the galaxy's rulers, who had laughed for so long, now trembled in silence. And yet, this was only the beginning. The galaxy's rulers could not sleep. Every hour brought more reports of human ships appearing and vanishing like shadows, striking and leaving before enemies even understood what had happened. Still, pride was stronger than fear. Pride made the empires believe that the humans could be broken if only someone tested their strength in open battle. Pride whispered, "They are still weak. They only use tricks. Crush them, and the galaxy will laugh again." And so, the Zorath Collective made its move. They were known for their war fleets, for ships covered in spikes of metal and armed with the deadliest plasma cannons in the galaxy. Their admirals boasted that no enemy could face them head-on. When they heard the whispers about humans, they laughed louder than anyone else. "Phantoms? Shadows?" the Zorath commanders mocked. "We will burn them from the stars and show the galaxy that humans are nothing." The collective gathered a fleet of 200 warships, an armada so powerful that entire empires had surrendered at the sight of it. They plotted a course to a quiet sector near human-controlled space. There, their spies had tracked strange energy pulses, and they believed a hidden human fleet was stationed in the shadows. When the Zorath armada arrived, their sensors scanned empty space. No human ships, no bases, nothing. The admirals laughed again. "So this is the mighty Earth?" they sneered. "Hiding in the dark like cowards." They prepared a message to broadcast across the galaxy, mocking humans once more. But before the words could be sent, something changed. One by one, their sensors flickered. Power grids shuddered. Strange static hissed across their comms. Then, out of nothing, human ships appeared. 10 of them. Only 10, facing 200 Zorath warships. The admirals grinned, convinced the battle would be easy. "Crush them," the fleet commander ordered. "Fire everything." The void lit, up with plasma fire. Beams of energy ripped across space brighter than suns. The Zorath fleet roared with confidence. But when the light faded, the human ships were gone. Not destroyed, gone. Sensors showed nothing. The Zorath commanders blinked in confusion, their claws tapping against consoles. Then came the shock. The humans reappeared, behind the fleet. Their weapons fired silently, invisible beams that cut through armor and shields as if they were made of paper. Entire cruisers split in half without explosions, their metal torn apart as if by unseen hands. The Zorath screamed, trying to turn their ships, but every move was useless. Whenever they locked onto a human ship, it blinked away, vanishing only to reappear at another angle, striking again. Panic spread like wildfire. "Impossible!" shouted one admiral. "No ship moves like this." But humans did not move. They stepped. They shifted through space in ways no alien could understand. It was as though the battlefield itself belonged to them, as though they were not fighting in the galaxy's rules but in their own. Within minutes, 50 Zorath ships were gone. The rest tried to retreat, engines burning bright, but every escape path was blocked. Human vessels appeared from nowhere, cutting off the exits, hunting the mighty fleet like predators circling prey. The battle that should have lasted hours ended in less than 20 minutes. Out of 200 Zorath warships, only 12 survived, limping back through hyperspace with broken hulls and broken spirits. The survivors carried with them a single terrifying memory: the silence. The humans had not spoken a word during the battle. No demands, no insults, not even a warning. Just efficient destruction, carried out with cold precision. News of the massacre spread across the galaxy like lightning. For the first time, no one laughed. The Zorath Collective, once feared as unstoppable, had been humiliated. 200 ships destroyed by only 10. Every empire now asked the same question: if 10 human ships could do this, what could an entire fleet accomplish? In the Council of Nine Suns, leaders shouted at each other in panic. Some demanded war before humans grew even stronger. Others begged for peace, for treaties, for any chance to survive. But all of them agreed on one thing: Earth was no longer a joke. Earth was a danger, and yet Earth itself remained silent. No ambassador arrived. No human message claimed victory. No fleet marched into alien space to demand surrender. The humans had proven their strength, but instead of boasting, they vanished again, retreating into the shadows as if the battle had been nothing more than a demonstration. But the galaxy understood the truth. It had been a warning, a test. And the humans had passed. For the first time in living memory, the rulers of the galaxy looked up at the stars and wondered if they were no longer masters of it. For the first time, they whispered to each other in fear, what if the humans had only just begun? Silence fell across the galaxy after the Zorath defeat. 200 warships had been turned into drifting wreckage by only 10 human vessels. Every empire tried to explain it, but no explanation made sense. Some claimed the humans had discovered an ancient weapon. Others whispered that they had made contact with powers beyond the stars. But the truth was more terrifying. No one knew, and still the humans said nothing. No victory speeches, no threats, no warning. They simply disappeared into the void, leaving broken fleets behind. That silence was heavier than war drums. It pressed into the minds of rulers, weighed down generals, and gnawed at scientists. Silence meant purpose. Silence meant control. And in that silence, fear grew deeper than ever before. Then one night, the silence ended. It happened in the core itself, the center of power where the Council of Nine Suns met. Their station floated like a jewel above a burning star, a fortress built with the combined strength of 9 empires. No enemy had ever reached it. No intruder had ever touched its gates. Its defenses could stop an armada. Its walls could endure a supernova. The rulers believed they were safe. But when the session began that night, something appeared outside the great glass windows of the chamber. A ship, human in design, hovered in the void, its dark hull reflecting the star's light. It had not been detected by sensors. It had not passed through defenses. It had simply appeared, silent, waiting, watching. Panic ripped through the chamber. Guards shouted, leaders screamed, alarms wailed. But before weapons could be fired, before orders could be given, a voice filled the hall. Calm, clear, human. We are here. The same words from before, but this time, they carried weight. The rulers froze. Every translator worked at once, every ear listening, every heart pounding. The human voice continued, steady, unshaken. For years you mocked us. You called us weak. You called us late to the stars. You called us a joke. And yet here we stand. We move where you cannot. We strike where you cannot defend. We see what you cannot hide. The chamber was silent. No one dared to speak. "We did not come to conquer," the voice said. "We did not come to kneel. We came to remind you of a truth you have forgotten." The rulers shifted in their seats, their eyes locked on the ship outside the glass. "The truth," the human voice continued, "is that Earth does not bow, Earth does not break, and Earth is no one's joke." The words cut through the chamber like a blade. Leaders who had laughed at Earth now sat pale and trembling. Some clenched their fists in anger, but none dared to respond. Then the humans revealed their secret, not in full but enough to send shock through the galaxy. "We have mastered the void. We do not fly through space, we walk across it. Distance is no barrier, walls are no defense, armies are no shield. Wherever we choose to be, we will be. You cannot chase us. You cannot stop us. You can only watch us appear out of nowhere." A collective shiver ran through the council. The rulers understood the meaning. No fortress was safe. No fleet was strong enough. No empire could sleep in peace. Still, the human voice remained calm. "We do not seek war. But if you force us, then understand this. The galaxy will burn before Earth bows." The chamber filled with silence once again. No one moved. No one spoke. The human ship lingered for a moment longer, as if daring someone to act. But no weapons fired. No orders came. Fear had locked every hand in place. And then, as suddenly as it appeared, the ship vanished into the void, leaving nothing behind but silence. That silence was worse than the words. It spread across the galaxy like fire, carried by whispers, repeated in fear. The humans could go anywhere, appear anywhere, destroy anything, and yet they chose only to speak. That choice was more terrifying than open war, because it meant the humans were not desperate. They were confident. Across the empires, rulers argued in secret chambers. Some wanted treaties, desperate to beg for peace. Others wanted war, their pride too strong to surrender. But all of them knew one truth. The balance of power was broken. Earth had stepped forward and nothing would ever be the same. And in the shadows of forgotten systems, human fleets prepared. Not boasting, not laughing, not rushing, waiting, watching, ready. The galaxy had asked for a show of strength. Humanity had delivered its message. And every ruler, every soldier, every citizen now understood. The joke was over. The galaxy was never the same after that night. One human ship had appeared above the strongest fortress in known space, spoken words that silenced the most powerful rulers and vanished before anyone could react. It was not just an act of defiance. It was a declaration. Earth was no longer the galaxy's joke. Earth was the shadow now hanging over every empire. Fear spread faster than trade routes. On distant colonies, workers whispered of human fleets, hiding in the dark. Soldiers spoke of battles lost before they began. Children asked their parents what humans looked like, and parents had no answers, only fear in their eyes. For the first time in living memory, the mighty rulers of the stars did not laugh when Earth's name was spoken. They shivered. The dominion of Vaar, proud and arrogant, called for war. They claimed humanity's silence was weakness, that the humans were bluffing. But their generals remembered the fleets that never returned. Their admirals remembered the recordings of ships that blinked in and out of space. And though their rulers shouted for battle, their soldiers whispered of ghosts in the void, ghosts with human faces. The Kareth Confederacy chose another path. They sent envoys in secret, carrying gifts of gold and crystal, begging to meet with human leaders. None of the envoys returned. Some believed the humans destroyed them. Others whispered something stranger, that the humans accepted the gifts but gave no reply, as if testing who was willing to bow first. The Zorath Collective, once the terror of the stars, lay broken. Their people no longer trusted their admirals. Their pride was shattered, their fleets in ruins. The survivors of the massacre told stories of human weapons that cut through their ships without sound, without fire, without mercy. And the worst part was not the destruction. It was the silence. No human voice had taunted them. No demand had been made. They were simply destroyed and left to remember. Meanwhile, in the hidden depths of their home system, humanity prepared. Earth itself remained quiet, its skies filled with dark vessels built for one purpose: survival. Factories hummed, fleets grew, and technology advanced at a pace no alien could understand. The humans did not spread their strength across the galaxy. They concentrated it, guarded it, sharpened it. To outsiders, it was a mystery. To the humans, it was destiny. The galaxy's rulers gathered once more at the Council of Nine Suns. There, chambers once filled with laughter now echoed with fear. Some demanded unity against Earth. Others argued that fighting humanity was suicide. And still others whispered the unthinkable, that it might be better to kneel before Earth before it was too late. The Council, once a place of arrogance, now trembled under the weight of 3 words: "We are here." But the humans did not wait for the Council's decision. Days later, across dozens of star systems, they appeared again, not in fleets, not in armadas, but in small shadows, 1 or 2 ships at a time, materializing above alien worlds, hovering in silence, then vanishing once more. They did not fire. They did not speak. They only showed the galaxy what was possible. They could be anywhere, anytime. For the first time, the galaxy realized what this meant. Wars fought with giant fleets and endless armies no longer mattered. Walls, fortresses, and shields no longer mattered. Because the enemy could appear behind them at any moment. Humanity had broken the rules of war. Humanity had rewritten them. And so, fear turned into respect. Respect turned into obedience. Across the stars, empires began to shift their policies, not out of alliance but out of survival. They ordered their citizens never to mock Earth again. They forbade laughter at humanity's name. And slowly the galaxy began to whisper a new truth. Earth had appeared out of nowhere, and Earth would decide the future. On Earth itself, leaders stood in silence, watching the galaxy from afar. They did not rejoice. They did not celebrate. They only prepared for what came next. Because humans knew the truth better than anyone. Laughter could return. Arrogance could rise again. And enemies would never stop hunting for weakness. But humans had survived their death world. They had endured extinction countless times in their history. They had risen from nothing, clawed their way to the stars, and mastered the void itself. The galaxy had mocked them, but now the galaxy feared them. And in that fear a new era began. It was no longer the age of the great empires, no longer the age of laughter and mockery. It was the age of shadows, the age of silence, the age of the unexpected. It was the age of Earth, and somewhere in the quiet between stars, a human voice whispered once more into the void, "We are here." This time the galaxy did not laugh. This time the galaxy listened.